Death by a Million Paper Cups. This one over here I happen to like a lot. What it was is I started out making a pattern, but rather than go off the edges, I kept changing the pattern on top, until it got down to. And then the blue chevron looking things, I totally made them not a pattern on purpose. So, because your eye will follow certain things, and they'll fill in the pattern. But then with this, it kind of, it's a little, kind of distorts that mind thing a little bit.
Yeah, that's super cool.
What's this? Oh, that's just one that slipped down. Yeah, don't bother with that. What the heck did I call this one? It's no tag. I think I called it nightcap, but it's supposed to look like the death cap mushroom, animated. I don't know. This one's kind of cool. I did it on purpose. That was like the first one. And I did that on purpose to look 50s and 60s. Because the mat looks, like that. It's like an older mat. So, this piece up here, this is, compost crows conversing. I was trying to build up soil with a compost pile in my backyard. And every morning the crows were out there waiting for me and screaming at me like, why are you late with our dinner, or something. And then one day I found a dead one, and I thought, wow, my cooking or what? And I found his skull, because I like skulls and I do art with them. I saved the skull and some feathers, but it's sort of that shape. I started doing the paper, just cutting. I just said I'm going to buy a bunch of paper and I only did this 6 weeks before the show because I had all the other art stuff and decided it would get lost in here. So I said, I got to do something different. So I bought the paper and I just kept cutting and cutting and cutting. And I found I could get these great shapes. Actually, these over here, these were models for big sculptures that I was working on for my garden. I do a lot of perennial gardens for a hobby, and what it is one spiral cut. Yeah, actually, this is more like what some of them look like, but it got to the point I had like 350 of them on everything in my house.
Wow.
And you couldn't walk because everything's falling, and they were getting all trampled. And I said, all right, I got to start making them out of metal. So I started cutting sheet metal, and then I started getting this, and I thought, wow, those are kind of cool. So I started working with that. When I was doing collage, kind of standard collage, what I noticed was when I picked up the scrap on the floor, a lot of that was more compelling than what I was doing with the, image stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know, for a few years, I just started using that pile. And my artist friends seem to really like that. Everybody has different tastes, but anyway, so, just kept cutting paper, and I found a triangle, then you round it, cut it, and then you can twist it. And in the design of these, there's like a round spiral. So after you get done twisting it, you put that round spiral wherever you want, and the tension of the whole paper, because it's all one piece, holds the whole thing. You can pick it up, you can do anything, So I have I made about a dozen metal pieces. Now what I'm looking for are like 12-foot pieces. I take 10-foot pieces of metal and I end up with like a 4-foot piece. So that kind of like slowed me down on delivering that, you know. So, but there are some out back that I did in aluminum, you know. So, and I've got some at home. I did in this, which was supposed to go on a shed of mine, but instead it's becoming something else. And the problem with this, though, is I thought I would paint them, and painting, once they're all put together with all those curves and stuff, it's a nightmare painting it, because all you get is runs, and you know, it doesn't really. However, I found flashing for homes, metal flashing, at Home Depot, you know, and you can get it in rolls. And one side's brass, and the other side is like galvanized metal or something, or shiny metal, white metal. So at some point I'm going to buy a roll of that and make some more, you know, this size. Yeah. So it'll have the both, you know, without having to paint and go through all that right now. So,
yeah. What is your process for like these pieces with the paper? Do you plan them out how you're gonna do it?
Well,
first?
I plan them as I make them, I guess. You know, I pretty much just make them. You know, I just got stuck on that triangle shape. Like here, you can see. This is all of it, you know, like this is a regular triangle, and then this is where the corners cut off.
Yeah.
And then you just, you know, mix whatever colors you want. And these are the corners off another one that I cut, you know, so that it would fit in here. But then, I was kind of looking for, you know, late 50s, 60s, kind of influence, you know, which I think it sort of hits that. You know, like a lot of the Italian designer stuff, you know, the modern, what was modern then.
Yeah.
Some of the shapes, not specifically that though. The black and white one up there are bone shapes in there I cut just because I work with bone, and I had to throw that in there somewhere, you know. But then I found also that these corner pieces on some of the bigger triangles, and depending on the weight of the paper, they just stand up. And then the whole idea, which didn't happen, was to put them in a shadow box frame. But I actually ended up gluing a bunch of these, putting these together in the reading room here, because of transportation and moving stuff all over. And actually, the funny part is that I had everything laid out, not everything, but a lot of things laid out. And my friend Mark helped me. When he picked up the whole stack and put it under his arm, of course, nothing was glued yet. And it all dumped on the floor.
Oh,
and it was time to set up the show. And I told him, I said, you know, I feel so relieved because now I don't have to even think about gluing anything, you know. I said, so help me out. And so he sort of had the idea to use it as confetti on the floor and whatever. And I'm thinking, you know. You know, that's a lot of work to make confetti, but I'm still doing it because I'm doing this, working with the paper, and I've already come up with some new stuff, because it's just I do art kind of for my own head, as therapy and, you know, mental therapy, mental exercise, and visual exercise, so I do things that I like, and hopefully other people pick up on that. But I just felt like I hadn't really had enough time to fully go where I wanted with it, you know. So like right now I'm taking some of my old spin arts and doing a very similar cut thing, but they look like jewelry. You know, I mean, they're like crazy nice. They look better than they do as a sheet of spin art, you know? So, let's see where that goes,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah, I'm thinking like maybe like wearable art kind of thing.
That would be cool.
Yeah, probably Czech revolutions in a month or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I give her stuff.
Yeah.
If she approves. She actually sold a lot of my older collages out of there. I guess a number of people know me because of that. I mean, I don't think they know me, but they know my name, you know, my art.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was speaking with an artist while I was putting a few of these together, and it was a Friday night, and she was here for the music. But and she said, you know, some of them sort of give me the feel of, you know, comic book, cartoon. And I had just had the same thought like a week before that, you know, like these got a little busy with the white, but you know, before I laid so much on top, it really did actually have that. And it was kind of, you know, bold,
Yeah.
you know. I have a whole other thing of ones cut and, you know, cut and laid out. And what I was doing were making characters that looked like an alphabet, a strange alphabet. So I could said anything, right? I mean, it's my alphabet, right? But they're actually very beautiful because it's interesting because you actually look at it and think, God, that must say something, right? And of course, it can say anything I feel like saying, you know. So, I mean, I want to get those put together, and I don't know. It's I don't know. Fun, except now it's gardening time, and I discovered my lawnmower was broken and my weed whackers both are broken, and so it's that time of year,
Yeah.
you know, before I have to call the hay truck to, you know, mow and bale it and get it off my lawn.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like this piece here, to me, this looks like some kind of a, my friend told me, he goes, yeah, it looks like one of those monkey socks face.
Yeah, it's not monkey.
Yeah, right? And I said, you know, it sort of does. To me, it looked like some cartoon Elvis, like this was the flip of his hair, you know. But I mean, it's so fun because,
Interpret it
I
any way,
mean,
but,
yeah, like I've had shows before and people come up. Actually, I had a woman hit me twice because she thought a piece was about abortion.
Oh.
And it wasn't at all.
Yeah.
And I said, well, no, that's not what it is.
Yeah.
And she was convinced, and I'm like, all right, well, whatever. Do you want to buy it?
Yeah.
Obviously not. But yeah, so it's interesting, you know, to hear what other people see, you know. I mean, I'm not going to do this the rest of my life, that's for sure. Paper, you know. But for, you know, it's got me intrigued for a while, and it's so freeform, you know. The only thing is I'm building up like a huge knuckle here and here from scissor, and, you know, my hands are, I think I'm getting like carpal fingers or something, you know, I don't know. I'll probably have like gnarly...
Have you gotten a lot of paper cuts?
Huh?
Have you gotten a lot of paper cuts?
Not
that
one.
title suggests? Wow.
No.
The irony.
I just, you know, it's, well, because I was trying to come up with a title. They said, what's the title of your show? And I said, I don't know, you know, death by... It also has to do with legal paperwork, you know, how that just, I hate mail, I really do, because
Yeah.
even if it's good, then I feel compelled to answer, and I'm just, I don't know, I lost that long time ago. I'll talk to you for 4 hours on the phone, but, you know, sit down and then get a stamp and an envelope, and, you know. It's, you know,
Process.
yeah, and I don't really like email, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, how personal do you want to be publicly? Right, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I don't care if they publish letters I wrote long after I'm forgotten, but, you know, but the email, you know, not that I say anything that crazy, but, yeah,
How
so.
long is like a typical one tick to make? Like that one in particular. I really like
Which one?
the huge one right here.
Oh, the large one?
Yeah. Like
Yeah, I just call that moon shadow.
Uh-huh.
Well, first of all, I have to glue in a background.
Mm-hmm.
I usually buy these frames. Actually, I have the glass for that, but I didn't want to mess with it. So, I usually buy those at auction because of the large mat. You know,
Yeah.
it's so expensive to have somebody cut one.
Yes.
But if you buy it already, then my nephew actually painted that for me because I just wanted black. I didn't want, you know, gold and whatever. But, you know, me, it probably takes, you know, 8 hours or something.
Wow.
I mean, because it's not a question of just cutting it all. Some of them are almost that way.
Uh-huh.
But a lot of them, you just cut, and then you see what you're working with, then you cull the ones that don't work, and so it becomes that whole kind of a process, you know. And then trying to find some kind of balance that works,
Yeah.
you know, visually, and colors that work, because just because it's yellow and red doesn't mean those are red and yellow that work. So it has to be a tonal thing
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
and especially when you get into a bunch of colors.
Mm-hmm.
But the beauty of collage to me is you can compose 100 different things with the same elements, right? And the difference of 1/8 of an inch off changes the whole balance of everything. I mean, it's so interesting. I can sit and play with it. I was part of a collage society years ago online. And they were out of New Zealand. And they were like, so what's with you? Do you just sit around and do these all day? And I said, well, you know, kind of pretty much. And because I wasn't working. It was one of those non-painting house times. And so I was posting, I don't know, 4 or 5 a day or something. And I was trying to talk to him, but I said, well, you know, what I really love is you just keep composing and composing. But then the trick is, when you get it exactly what you want, then the whole mystery, the whole change factor is gluing it where you once had it. And then sometimes it'll stick where you don't want it, and then you rip, you know, and then you lose the whole thing. You know, so what I did was I took all the pieces for a collage that I was working on. And I put them on, I had a big scanner. And so I scanned them, and then I changed them around and scanned the same thing again. And I did that like 4 or 5 times, you know. And they go, what's that? And I said, oh, those are mono scans, you know, mono collage, or scan collage, or whatever, you know. And they're like, huh? And I was like, you know what, I don't think I belong in this group. You know, like, I think I'm gonna stop putting stuff on here. But it was sort of, actually what that would be like a cartoon cell, you know, in a you know, movie cartoon or something.
Yeah.
Could be, I mean, I think that, you know, they did something very similar with the old cartoons, you know. Except you don't have to draw everyone, it's just move them.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, maybe I should do that, you know, single frame. And see what happens, but you know, I don't really have time for that. I'd rather just create stuff, paper stuff, you know.
Exactly.
And assemblage, I really like assemblage. I used to, you know, buy and sell antiques, and so I'm always hunting for them. And I always wanted to be an archaeologist, so that never went anywhere. But and you know, I used to play at the dump all the time. I wasn't supposed to, but it was near me, and I knew the people. I stayed with the people that owned it, the land, you know. So we'd always were at the dump, and it's the whole thing of finding treasures, you know, the yard sale. You know, that's why it's so addictive.
Yeah.
You know, so same thing at the dump, you know, or any. You know, I used to go to old cellar holes and scrounge around, you know, and so yeah, I don't know. You find all that stuff, and it's like a kind of a rush, you know, a little high, and then after a while, you're like, what do you do with all? Yeah, I mean, it's really cool, but I have like bins full of them. Nobody sees them, and so what and I used to put them up on shelves and stuff, and then I said, you know, I should just put them together, these little things, and I don't know, it was mad popular for a while. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, my bathroom is full of them. I have shelves, and there's just like these little, you know, bone shells, God, whatever, anything weird is beautiful. You know, because they don't really. People like them, but they don't really have any value to anyone. You know, like a bone that's been chewed all over by squirrels or something. But if you hook it up with something else, and something else, and then all of a sudden it's a cool object, and, you know, so you're saving it from being destroyed, you know, or whatever.
Exactly.
So, and actually, if I don't sell anything, that's kind of cool too. Because I like looking at it.
Yeah, you just keep it.
Yeah, I don't know. Why not? You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have plans to add a big addition on my house, so yeah, one of these days,
Yep.
maybe. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully I'll do another one and really blast. You know,
Yeah.
winters are a good time to do art when you're sitting home,
Definitely.
avoiding weather issues. You know.
Yep.
I used to be really active in the winter, and I don't know, it just occurred to me that maybe I don't like the cold so much anymore.
Yeah, no.
Nah, you know, I think I lived too long in Florida, so I kind of got used to heat and warm ocean water. I haven't been swimming since I've been back here, so no. A friend of mine, he said, "Oh, let's go to Sharon and, you know, go swimming below the dam." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's hot. Yeah, you know, that sounds good." And I got there, and he dove off and said, "Oh, the water's great. Come on in." I was getting ready to dive, and then I said, "Geez, I haven't even tested the water." I put my foot in, it was like an electric shock. I was like, "Are you kidding? There's no way I'm jumping in that." You know, it was like maybe this time of year, or, you know, the water's still ice cold, but it's starting to get warm, you know, and I'm like, well, I don't know if I'll ever swim in Vermont again, you know, unless it's an accident.
Yeah.